Welcome back to Vox Terra, aka Hidden Agendas. This is January of 2025, President Trump soon to be inaugurated. Historic raging wildfires burn Los Angeles and Southern California. This is the face of climate change. Yet, here we are in 2025, and climate silence reigns. I first read about climate change, or then called the man-made greenhouse effect, in the 80s, early 80s, reading Carl Sagan. And he explained, simply put, keep burning fossil fuels, keep adding greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, more heat gets trapped, and the planet heats. Paraphrasing now, mayhem results. This is nothing new. So the silence in 2025 is worse than stupid. How do we end climate and environmental silence? Keep our points simple and easy to repeat. Do not keep looking for new references and new terminology. Use the same old. That is called the power of repeated advertising. 1. Why the silence? Fossil fuel petrochemicals are the most powerful industry since nearly the dawn of capitalism. They are dominant in politics, media, influence education, science, public thinking. Fossil fuel disinformation, confusion, and obstruction campaigns regarding climate science and environmental science mirror that of the tobacco industry's campaigns. Fossil fuel petrochemicals and aligned business interests advertise, sponsor, and have overlapping interests with media outlets, their owners, and politicians. They have worked relentlessly to manipulate conservative movements and to downplay the significance of the environment in liberal movements. They influence textbook publishers, offer resources to educators, and sponsor research. False conspiracy narratives calling climate change a woke plot serve to inflame people looking for targets. Point 2, science is based on probability. NASA, I've cited to you there before, the Earth is 2 Fahrenheit degrees hotter since the era of fossil fuels began. 2 things affect planetary temperature: the proximity to the sun and the composition of the atmosphere. Well, what has changed is the composition of the atmosphere. Citing NOAA, we're putting nearly 40 billion tons of fossil fuels into our atmosphere a year. Atmospheric carbon due to fossil fuel use is the highest it's been in thousands and thousands of years. And that hotter atmosphere holds more moisture, pulls more out of the soil and out of vegetation. Hotter oceans give up more moisture. So we now have a whiplash climate. Dry, 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 and when it rains, it pours. The oceanic and atmospheric currents that have stabilized our climate for thousands of years still depend on that pull and push from the cold Arctic to that hotter, warm equator. Well, since the poles are heating faster than the rest of the planet due to those feedback loops I taught you about, the temperature differential is breaking down, and as that temperature differential breaks down, so too do the atmospheric and oceanic currents, getting weaker, wobblier, and more sluggish. Weather fronts can just linger and linger. Hot tropical air masses can push farther north, and what's left of the cold can slump further south. With a whiplash climate, you get a tinderbox. Those intense rains equal vegetative bursts. Intense heat and dries out that vegetation. Fuel now. Lightning, itself heat-related, and that I've cited you to NASA before too, means you're more likely to get that spark to ignite the conflagration. And what should be cited in every story on wildfires, wildfire range, intensity, and wildfire season, all are on the rise. That I've cited you to articles from NASA and a Union of Concerned Scientists going years back, yet they are ignored. Not only does the media and here I even mean so-called non-legacy media, tend to ignore the simple climate mechanisms, but they also fail to make the global connections, portraying each wildfire or flood or other extreme weather event as a tragic one-off, historic. It isn't just Los Angeles. Places that didn't used to typically have to worry about fires or floods are burning or flooding. How long ago was it that New York and New Jersey were having wildfires? Nova Scotia, that place doesn't typically catch on fire. Wildfires in France and the UK. Wildfire rise in the Mediterranean, Siberia and the Arctic. Even rainforests, both temperate and tropic, catching ablaze. But this all ties into the environment in other ways besides climate. Having a society that is based on toxic petrochemicals, using toxic building materials, as LA burns, it's not just burning natural materials, it is burning plastics, petrochemical-based plastics, vinyl siding, vinyl flooring, gasoline stations, cars filled with gasoline, synthetic carpets, synthetic clothing, all burning, putting their particulate matter with their carcinogens and who knows what else into the atmosphere, back into the soil, back into the water, into people's lungs. The solutions are simple, achievable, and ignored. As we've been saying over my whole lifetime, reduce, reuse, recycle, add renewable energy, electrification and heat pumps, a connected power grid, energy storage, backup systems, and microgrids, a local base, less toxic or organic agriculture and industry, walkable, bikeable communities, build with non and less toxic alternatives, homes and buildings made to last and withstand. There are studies out there that I've cited to from major universities about how to get to a 100% renewable energy grid, going back years. Don't make the arguments for the fossil fuel or even the nuclear power industry for them. Capitalism is a get-what-you-bargain-for system. Demand a 100% renewable energy grid and maybe get an 80% one. Argue why it can't be done, and it won't be done. And you know what? Demanding a less toxic, less greenhouse gas-laden economy, in my opinion, that's called a Green New Deal. Don't run from that Green New Deal, run to it, run on it. If you identify as a leftist or a liberal, put the environment and climate change at top of your checklist. If you identify as a conservative, know that climate change denial is not truly a conservative value. Calling it a conservative value is merely the fossil fuel petrochemical industries wrapping themselves in a conservative cloak. That, my friend, is a marketing ploy. So you know what? Put climate change, put scaling away from fossil fuels immediately on your checklist too. Well, I hope you found this informative, interesting, good food for thought. If you did, please make sure you are subscribed, you are commenting, you are liking, you are clicking that notification bell so you know when I put up a new video or podcast, hopefully. Support this show at Patreon, and as always, until next time, peace be with you.